Well, I'm gonna start a new series, guys, and I'm going to call it. Let me think of the name again. It's a bit cringy, but still. Welcome to Muscle Computers! So, this is Muscle Computers, the series about I'll be talking about some old or new computer hardware that are capable of a benchmark for something like a game or Cinebench or all those kind of stuff. It's gonna be a new series, okay, about some of these things about computers. So yeah. Well, as you guys can see, I'm not wearing the microphone because I want to be a host in today's one. And yeah, let's jump right in for this first part of Muscle Computers. So, in today's video, I'll be talking about 5 old Nvidia GPUs that can play GTA 5 1080p low settings in 30 or more FPS. So, before we start this, I need to talk about one analytic because approximately 80% of you guys do watch this video don't subscribe to the channel. So, if you guys really think this video is useful, so make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. So, yeah, let's jump right in. So, yeah, let's jump right in. So let's say you're using a crappy GPU that you can play GTA 5 in 360p low settings about 10 FPS. I'm talking about you, Intel I GPU. So if you want to play this game, particularly GTA 5, and this GPUs in this episode will be a useful option, at least that I supposed. And actually you guys can buy newer GPUs like the GT 1030. I don't suggest you guys buying the GT 1030 because it can play GTA 5 in 720p, a bit lower FPS, but still, these are some finest options. Not finest option, is just some benchmark. Okay, so just jump right in. The fifth place will be the 550 Ti. The 550 Ti is a GPU from 2011 and it has 900 megahertz of clock speed and it has 1 gig of GDDR5 192-bit bus memory, so some performance there. But the thing you guys don't know that it can play GTA 5 in low 1080p settings about 70 FPS with the 1% lows of 43 FPS. That's a lot of FPS. The problem is it's an old GPU, so many new latest and greatest games, talking about you Cyberpunk, can't really play on this GPU. And 1 gig of GDDR5 memory for a GPU in 2022, it's technically below borderline in my opinion actually. And also this card TDP is in around 116 watts and it does need an external 6-pin power connector. So the number 4 on this list, we're going downwise, so number 4, GTX 460. The GTX 460 released in 2010 with a clock speed of 675 MHz with 1 gig of GDDR5 256-bit bus memory. So that's a lot of bit bus. Despite this is an older GPU than the GTX 550 Ti, it's capable of playing GTA 5 75 frames per second with 1% load of 50s. That's a lot of FPS, but it's older. But there's a problem with this GPU. For this kind of performance, you need a lot of power. It needs a lot of power and it consumes around 160 watts. 160 watts and requires two 6-pin external power connectors. Yeah, and there's also another problem that you can't play the latest and greatest game like Forza Horizon is just straight up crashes. So yeah, the third place goes to the GTX 260. Okay, hear me out. The GTX 260 is the weirdest card that I've seen in a while. In a while means a lot of while, okay? We're talking about a Dell OEM card that came from 2009. It's a Dell OEM card. I think you guys can find this particular Dell OEM card that looks like a weapon. more easily than any other Asus cards like that. It has an 118 megahertz of clock speed with 1.7 GB of GDDR3 memory. 1.7 GB is a weird amount of VRAM in my opinion actually. Well, I have a new shirt and it's another day of recording. Nice. Okay, despite its 1.7 gigabytes of GDDR3 memory, I don't know what bit bus it's used for the memory, so yeah. Hear me, okay? This thing can play GTA 5 in 1080p low settings, average around 34 FPS in 1% lows off. This number, I guess. Ah, this number, I guess, which is 19 FPS. But there's the more weird thing about this thing. This the TDP for this card is 182 watts, okay? But it uses only one 6-pin external power connector, so 75 watts in the PCIe lane and another 75 watts in the 6-pin power connector. Where the other 2 watts? I don't know. But there's another flaw for this graphics card. Even despite it's a lot of power, it doesn't play the new latest game. So yeah. Number 2, the GTS 450. Okay, the GTS 450 is a popular graphics card, and it's not the good kind of popularity, it's the bad kind of popularity, because many scam cards that claim to be a 1050 Ti happens to be a GTS 450, because I don't know, because Nvidia made a boatload of them. But the GTS 450 is a good guy, okay? It can play GTA 5 about 1080p low settings, about 54 frames per second in 1% lows of this number again. There are 3 versions of the GTS 450, the 512 megabytes and the 1 gigabyte version, and 20 gigabyte, not 20, 12, 2 gigabyte model. The weird thing is it consumes 106 watts of power with an external 6-pin power converter, and yes, it doesn't play the latest and greatest games. Number 1, the Quadro 2000. The Quadro 2000 is the most underrated graphics card in the planet. And yes, I'm using one Quadro 2000 in my system. The GPU came out in 2010 with a clock speed of 625 megahertz with a 1 gigabyte GDDR5 128-bit bus memory, and that's a lot of words. Okay, it can play GTA 5 around 70 frames per second average, 30 frames in 1% lows, and the thing is, it only consumes 62 watts of power. So if you guys have a 200 watt power supply in your PC, you guys can chuck it in this thing and call it a day. And it's a real monster. Like, I can play most of the latest games on it. So yeah, it's a really good graphics card, and that's why it comes out first place on this list. So there's the conclusion for this list. Okay, the conclusion is I only suggest 3 graphics cards. One is the GTX 550 Ti, the GTS 450 Ti, GTS 450, and the Quadro 2000, and not the scam one. Okay, not the scam GTS 450, and is the 1 gigabyte or the 2 gigabyte model. So hear me out, okay? And I don't suggest you guys to get out and buy the GTX 460 and the GTX 260, despite they are the same price as the other 3 graphics card. And I'm telling you guys, you guys can get this graphics card for cheap. So at the end of the day, you guys can't play the latest and greatest games, but you guys still can enjoy some of the latest and greatest games like Valorant, CS:GO, and all etc. So if you do like this video, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and tell me in the comments down below what if you thought of it, guys. If you're new to this channel, guys, don't forget to subscribe for more, and I'll check you guys in the next video. Hope you guys enjoy. I know I am.